guys walk up to him and they're like, "Hey, like, do you have Nancy Pelosi's phone number? Like, I kind of want to ask her on a date. Like, can you just give me Nancy Pelosi's phone number, Glenn?" And it was like, "No,
Were they like kids our age?
no." They were like guys in their 70s.
You ever listen to old people talk sometimes? Like some old guys, the things they say when they're They're in the
darndest
mood.
Thing can say.
oh, I thought we said dirty stuff. My lord, some of the old they always got catchy little sayings or like pickup lines, and you're just like, did that just come out of your mouth? Like you're 85.
See, a lot of them talk pretty dirty at times.
I gotta get this all adjusted.
Are we recording yet or no?
Yeah, we
Okay.
just started. And action. Take two. Take three. We're going to have to get your ad in here. Dan's got a couple different ads. Well, anyways, good morning. Good morning. It is 8:30 on the second? What is it?
It was April 3rd, 8:45.
April 3rd. Oh, 8:45. All right.
Got a late start.
We got two different guests with us today. We got our good friend Kyle, Big Red, Ernie,
Morning,
Turner,
everyone.
and we got Dan Dagner. Dan was on here one other time a couple months ago. We haven't had the full podcast uploaded yet. We're kind of waiting until the election's up here, which is on April 6th.
Tuesday.
If you guys are in Fond du Lac County, get out there and vote. Dan, you got any quick introduction or whatever? You want to pump out some little advertisements if you want?
Sure, yeah. So just a little bit about me. I ran for city council in 2019. Was elected, so I'm the only incumbent running. But I've been proud over the past 2 years. We've helped cut taxes by over 6.39%, cut our city debt by 10%. A lot of conservatives always want to talk about how they're against increasing debt, but then they increase debt. That's what we see in Washington, at least. And then another thing I was proud of, we increased street maintenance funding by 259% to help fix our roads and streets. Other than that, helped pass a couple ordinances, protect kids from sexual violence. So I'm a big public safety guy. Some of my opponents have come out in support of defunding the police, but I've always been a guy that backs the badge, and that's why the badge backs me, and I'm endorsed by local law enforcement officials. I'm also endorsed by our state representative, Jeremy Thiensfeld. And so I hope if I have your vote on Tuesday, I can continue to promote good conservative values that are good for our families here in Fond du Lac.
I think I'm going to go start that pot of coffee.
Oh,
Yeah,
nice. I just
I'll do
got a
that right now.
donation.
All right. I brought some coffee for Jay. Well, I intended to. Some Black Rifle Freedom Roast. And I left it on the counter. And then I was about halfway to Fond du Lac when I realized that I forgot it. So instead, we'll be enjoying some black Folgers. Classic roast, right? Oh, only the best.
The blacker and the darker, the better.
As well as some peanut butter filled pretzels. Because snacks. What's your favorite snack, Kyle?
Favorite snack would probably be venison snack sticks or peanut butter pretzels.
Like hot sticks?
Yeah.
Dude, I'm like, you know what I could go for right now? Like a cherry Dr. Pepper or like a cherry Coke. That's like my, I don't really drink soda, but man, I could really mess one of those up. And these pretzels with that, good fire.
Good combination.
Meat sticks though,
Yeah.
I like jerky. I guess some hot sticks, but
I say the barbecue flavored ones are
from Brandon
pretty
Meats
fire.
or
Yep. Yeah.
from your own deer.
Yeah.
Dude, I got how many pounds of meat you think I got in the freezer from?
I would say probably 20 to 30.
Yeah, I was
somewhere
thinking
between
probably
there.
30 pounds. I got to make a lot of jerky and some hot sticks. Once I get in the house, pretty soon. We're finishing up drywall today. I got to mud the rest of it. And then hopefully tomorrow we can start painting. And then by the next week we'll have floors going in. I just got to get some carpet ordered.
Matt, so are you going to sign the recall papers?
Who are you recalling?
I hear the people of Brandon are going to be recalling school board members.
Dude, have you been interested in any of that or like
I
following along?
think it's ridiculous. So to run a recall election, the school has to pay all the money for it. So we're talking to spending like anywhere from like 40 to 50K.
And then the taxpayers are going to pay for that.
Well, it's not even just like the taxpayers going and paying for it. It's the school district has to. So instead of, because there's tax levies, there's a maximum of how much money they can tax in a year. So money that would be going towards kids' education is going to be going towards a recall election, when they could just wait for the next year and then vote that person out like we normally would. It's just to me, it's a waste of money, but it's directly impacting the kids that we're saying that we care so much about.
We were talking about like
It's
at first when when I first kind of heard the whole thing, I was like, okay, that's like I get that, you know. And then I thought a little bit deeper into like so. Anyways, for those of you that don't know, it's a rural school district or whatever. The Brandon, they want to close the Brandon Middle School because right now it's K through 8, and they want to close down the middle school and just leave like the primary students, and then I think it's are they busing the 6th, 7th, and 8th or 7th and 8th?
I believe it's just 7th.
7th and 8th graders to the high school, or like to not to the Rosendale Intermediate
The
School.
middle school, yeah.
So there's going to be a big referendum coming up to figure out like what upgrades are going to be done and where all the funds are going to be allocated and whatever. But the people from Brandon are pretty pissed off because they're now having to bus their kids or get their kids to Rosendale, which is a 15 minute drive to the school from the town of Brandon, I'd say.
10-15.
Yeah. And it's just Rosendale and Brandon people. Oh, mine is way down. I can't.
One part of the history is that it was there was 2 rural school districts that merged back in the 70s, and I think there's still some people that kind of felt like Brandon got the short end of the stick.
Yeah, there has been a
Yeah.
constant like butting heads. Since we've been going to school, since our parents went to school there. And now it's just you're seeing it bigger than ever, obviously, because now you're taking away more from the Brandon area. While in the long run, it's going to benefit the students, it's going to benefit the community. But right now, what people are looking at is once you get rid of, well, one, you're getting rid of jobs technically in the area, like the teachers living in the area if they're from Brandon, like, to bring people to the community itself, but they're still in the district. Like, it's just a 10-minute commute or whatever. Like, so then I think one of the biggest arguments was the home value. So the number one asset in the middle class is their house, and people believe that the home value is going to go down because now you're having less people in the area.
Well, part of it though is
and then Rosendale would go up because more people are going to go to Rosendale.
it's part of the political sort of messaging where, and part of me, I want to be careful, but you do have people that are the leaders of that recall group that are in the opposition group. They are very strong Democrats, and they learn very liberal tactics. Like, you mislead people and you say very out there things. So the home value is if the whole entire school were to shut down. But
Yeah, but that's what I think is coming.
There's no proposal for that. But
not yet, but it's probably going to happen. I would say it's going to happen. It might be in another 5 or 10 years, but it's going to happen. Yeah, the values are probably going to go down. But are they going to go down that significant? Because now you have, one, the district itself. All right, the district itself is going to be all upgraded, better facilities for athletics, education, more shop classes. Like, you're going to have better classes, more teachers, better teachers are going to want to go there. And now if you're moving to the community of Brandon, it's a rural area, but now you're 10 minutes from Waupun, you're 10 minutes from Ripon, you're 10 minutes from Rosendale. You have that comes to school choice. Then you can go to where all good community, like decent communities and good schools. They all have new updates. Like, so maybe the values of them will actually can go up or stay the same. Like I mean, it's hard to say, and I don't think anyone's going to be able to say, yeah, this is what's going to happen, But the school will probably be gone. And then when people were upset about is the taxes. Where do their taxes go? Because now if they can go to Waupun, Ripon, or Rosendale, how are they going to break? Are they going to be paying Rosendale taxes? Or are they going to? So people were complaining about that. My thing with that is, doesn't matter what school you go to, you're still going to be paying taxes.
Well, and it's whatever school district you're bound to.
Yeah, you're still going to be paying for it. So like people are bitching about it, like they're never ever going to have to pay taxes. It's like whatever school you go to, you're going to be paying taxes for the that district. Like if you move to Waupun, guess what? You're going to be paying taxes for Waupun's district. You go to Ripon, same thing. So I think they just think that we can just push this off and never update any facility, and they're not going to have an increase in taxes. Like that's not going to if you do that, the values of everything around you are going to start going down. Nobody's going to want to go to your school. No one's going to want to go to the community because there's nothing to bring them there. That's all I got to say about that.
I thought you were going to go into Lakeside Park then, but because that was an interesting transition.
I'm just saying, like, those are the arguments that I've heard so far. And I used to think, like, I kind of agreed with, like, how the people from Brandon were viewing it. Because if you look on the school board, almost all of them are from Rosendale. So it's like, well, yeah, that would benefit them if their home values went up and all that. But, like, who's to say Brandon's going to go down? Who's to say Rosendale's is going to skyrocket when you're only moving?
Well, in the school board, the people that voted against moving the middle school over to Rosendale were Rosendale people. All the Brandon people voted for it.
Yeah. So, and another thing is, a lot of the people from Brandon that have all these arguments, none of them have any true facts of, like, what's going to happen. It's all, like, hypothetical. Like, oh, this or that could happen. But, like, one of the people that we know that is close to this whole thing, that's what they said too. There's been no facts that have been pointed out, like, we're going to lose this amount, or this is why we should keep them here, we're going to gain this. Like, it's all emotional argument. It's like, oh, we feel this way. Well, in the long run, a school's a business. You can't just say, I feel this way, and then we have to do it. Like, your school is, it's producing, you're hoping to produce individuals that will help contribute to society in a positive way. And I honestly think you have to think of it as running a business. Like, I'm going to train you so that you can help me grow this, like, grow the community or grow, I don't know. That's just how I kind of look at it.
Well, and that's the beauty of the school choice system and the voucher system we have in Wisconsin. And so, for me, I'm going to be joining a private Christian school board this summer. But I think that's a great thing about voucher system is that we promote competition, we promote the free market values, where we're going out and then we're making it so that when you have more competition, you have better education overall because they have to compete to get better test scores to better educate our kids. And so when you have that where there is money driving that, it's not like we're stealing money from one group or another, but it follows where the kids go. So I think that's the best way for us to make sure we have a solid education going forward in the future.
Yeah, I don't really follow any of that, so I just keep quiet with the whole thing because
we have a public school teacher here though. I wonder what his thoughts are.
Previous.
Previous.
Yes.
I didn't know this was.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Kyle, what do you see?
Well, I don't know. I kind of see both sides of it. As a community, like I can kind of see why, like, some of the people are definitely, like, mad about it. But like you said, in a way, you got to look at it as kind of like a business, and even though the decision right now is real tough, it may pan out later in the long run.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So, Jason, your friend Kurt, he's running for village president in Rosendale. What do you think his odds are?
I would think his odds are pretty good. I would think. What do you think?
I'm not.
What do you know that we don't know?
Yeah, what do you know?
I'm not sure. I know he's knocking doors, but I just don't think he's doing targeted doors or anything. So that's where I'm not sure.
Oh, yeah, I have
I'm
no
not
idea.
He didn't get to me quick enough for us to be able to see.
Yeah, no, he texted me about it saying that he was running for president and whatever, but yeah, I don't know. I don't keep up with Rosendale much anymore, so I don't really know what's going on, or Brandon or anything like that. What are you doing over there?
Do any of you know who Mandy Lemons or Ryan Arndt are? My dad's wondering. They're running for school board in Brandon.
I don't.
Nope.
Anyways, I got one for you. 75 hard. We've talked about this before, and we started it last week. So, for those of you that don't know, because I know that these two sitting here do not know what it is, and I don't think we gave a full overview to any of the listeners of what exactly we are doing. Here it is.
You know, I've heard this a lot. Hey man, I'm gonna start 75 hard on Monday. Wrong thing to say to me.
You are about to embark on the hardest 75 days of your life. But if you can get through it without cheating yourself, you will come out on the other side as the hardest, most disciplined version of yourself. The habits you develop and what you learn about yourself will change your life forever.
Okay? Take it from someone who was 350 fucking pounds and literally didn't go anywhere because they were so embarrassed of what they looked like and what they felt like. Couldn't buy clothes, wouldn't go to the barbecues, didn't go to the pool. You guys all know the deal. You know what I'm talking about.
At first glance, to some the program might look simple. It is. But don't confuse simple and easy. Some of the most simple things in life are also the most difficult. 75 hard is one of those things. To others it might look too advanced. Also, don't be fooled. It's not. You can do this no matter what your starting point is. This is not a physical challenge, it is a mental challenge, designed to develop all the characteristics you lack in life that have landed you where you are at.
And if you really want it to change, and if you really want to make a change, and you really want to be different, and you really want it to be this time, start fucking now. I don't care if it's 9 o'clock at night. Go on a 30-minute walk. Do something productive towards what it is you're trying to become.
Tell yourself that it's okay to create a pattern of compromise across every single area of your life. It rounds off the sharp corners of what should be an exceptional life. The next 75 days is a chance to prove to yourself that you're not a liar, you're not weak, and you truly have what it takes to break the patterns of weakness and compromise you've built over the course of your entire life. I'm not special, and neither are you. I did this, and I know you can too. But that doesn't matter. It's up to you to believe in yourself and do the work. So, here are the simple tasks that you have to do the next 75 days. You follow a diet. This can be a diet of your choice, but it must be a structured plan designed with the physical improvement in mind. Whether that's weight gain for muscle gain, weight loss, toning up. You must complete 2 45-minute workouts. One of those workouts must be outdoors. Absolutely no alcohol or cheap meals. Take a progress picture every day. Drink 1 gallon of water. Read 10 pages of a book. Audiobooks do not count. 0 compromise, 0 substitutions. You have until you go to sleep to complete the day. If you fail, you must start over on day 1.
I can tell you right now for sure that the people who tell themselves, I'm going to start Monday, never fucking start Monday. Okay? So, there's really not much more to this, guys. I understand what this is about. I understand what it means to lie to ourselves. I understand what it means to justify things. I understand what it means to really mean that we're going to change. I understand that. But if you really, really, really meant it, you start right now.
We are 6 days now. 5 days.
6 days.
6 days in.
This is the 6th day.
This is day 6. I have to do my other 45-minute indoor workout and finish my gallon of water and a progress picture, and that's it. Halfway.
I got my morning workout in and a tiny bit of water drink. That's all I have for today.
That's why I just started with well, I had a couple glasses this morning, but
Yeah,
how's it been going?
it's way harder than I thought it was gonna be. Like the first day was probably the hardest. Getting out of bed cause I gotta do my morning. I do a morning walk, and I gotta get up at like 3:45 to be out the door at 4. So then it gives me enough time to get ready for work when I'm done. Oh, that's the worst.
The hardest part is getting out of bed.
The hardest part is
100%.
actually starting it and like
100% getting out of bed.
getting out of bed every day.
Yep. Once I'm out of bed, it's fine. But getting out of bed, dude, that 5 minutes where you're fighting the demons in your head of like the comfort zone of I just want to go lay down. I'll do it tomorrow. I'll do it later. Like, dude.
The worst part is that like right when I wake up, like every part of my brain is just like, fuck this, dude. Like,
Yeah, why?
We're not doing it. We're
Yep.
not just. Why are you doing
Dude,
this?
it is a mental battle. Like, the whole point of this thing is just to get over those, like, I'll do it later. I don't want to do it. Not right now. Like, that is the point of this. And if you could do it right when you wake up in the morning, I think the rest of the day, everything is so much easier. That first couple minutes of battling with getting up to go do it. We've talked about this before, but like now it's like a challenge. Like, we're putting it really in perspective. Like, we're doing this for 75 days straight, and like after that, it's supposed to be 1 year, and I think we'll roll with it. I think we'll do it. If we get 75 days, there's no way we're just gonna
The
stop.
no alcohol for a year would be really hard.
I think that's where 75 days, we're not gonna do it.
Well, we did sober October
Before two
2
times.
times, pretty much.
I think that the 75 days I could do it, and then I think from there, it would be to like really limiting it,
Yeah.
because I do enjoy just like having a couple drinks just when we're doing something like this, or even just when you're out. Like, I think the big point is just to create habits where like instead of just turning to go drink or sit at a bar like that, like. Not that we do that all the time, but that's one of the points of this challenge, is so people don't just fall into those habits. But I think like, especially in the summertime, like around a campfire or something like that, like it's just a way to unwind after a week of work. But like as long as you're not using that as a way out of other work that you should be getting done. Like in the summertime, like. We work every single weekend, and we'll have a couple of drinks at the fire on a Friday night, but at 5:30 in the morning on Saturday, we're on the road, like ready to go work.
Yeah.
So I think as long as you're not using it as an excuse, or if it starts becoming a problem where you're not getting up and you're missing work, and like that's an issue.
Yeah, my whole body hurts. I think every fiber of every muscle hurts right now. I was like basing because I do like I said, I do a morning walk, and then my afternoon workout is like been based off of what isn't sore right now. So like one day I just did abs because it's like every other, like my chest, my arms, my back, my legs are sore. I'm like, I'll just do abs.
And then the next.
Then a 45-minute ab workout, dude. Oh my god, I couldn't even like giggle because it hurt too much.
What do you think? What have you noticed for like strengths coming out of this already? Like just in the past couple of days, because like the weakness is obviously like that mind game. Like it tries to mess you up. Like your mind is just fighting you not to do it. Like just to stay in bed. It's comfy. Like you can do it later. Like
I don't know. It's been really hard so far. But I don't know. Like I sleep better at night. I guess.
Yeah.
I'm more like happy during the day.
yeah,
I
like
have more of like a mental edge at work.
like a confidence, like
Yeah.
a slight, yeah. That's what I feel like, a little confidence.
But otherwise, I don't have like. It's mainly just been terrible.
Like that's the point, though. Well, kinda for in the beginning, I think it
Yeah.
is like it's gonna be hard. Like they say, it's simple, but it ain't easy. Well, my plan was to have Kyle to commit, but now that Dan's here too, might have to.
I don't have time for that.
Oh, here we go. The perfect excuse. I don't have time for that. What time you get up in the morning?
Varies. Depends on when I have.
Varies. Right there. You're telling me right now that you don't have a complete structure of where you couldn't fit some sort of workout or time in to get any of this done.
Right now, between full-time job, full-time campaign, and then
Your-
part-time
Your
wedding
campaign's
prep,
done in 5 days.
then it goes to full-time wedding prep.
You can get it done with. I'm telling you right now, you can get it done. You got at least 16 hours in the day, at least. And you're now. I don't think you sleep 8. And if you do, you better cut it down to 6.
Kyle's shaking his
You're
head.
shaking your head because you don't want to do it either. You're afraid too. What are you afraid of? Both of you.
I'm not afraid of anything. I mean, I already work out and I don't drink alcohol that much, so
What are you afraid of?
my biggest thing is, like, for me, I need good sleep.
You can get good sleep. You're gonna sleep great with this.
All right, so
You can
get
get.
up at.
Go ahead.
I get up at like, well, if I do overtime, I get up at like 4 o'clock. If I just work straight,
Wait,
normal
wait, wait.
hours.
Stop. Get up at 3 o'clock. That's 1 hour. You have 45 minutes that you got to do. You got 15 to spare. You're right now. It's, you don't
no,
want
no,
to
no,
because it's
no.
comfortable for you to be like, oh, I could just sleep in.
Here's the thing, though. Like,
Why would I waste that hour when I could sleep?
I get the time thing. Like, at certain points in your year, it ain't gonna work out. Like, you're gonna just drain yourself down to like nothing. If you, I get where
That's the
you're going.
point.
Like,
That's the point. Is to drain yourself down mentally to where you're just.
See what you have.
Let's see what you're. Let's see what you're.
What you're
actually
made out of. What do you want? How bad do you want it?
well, you see, I guess where I'm going with this is, if you are working a full-time job,
Which we do.
which yep, everyone here does, you are working out already, and now all of a sudden, like, let's say spring's coming up here.
Yep.
Planting season. All right, so
Yep.
I'm already gonna have to shift my workouts from after work into the morning before I go to work. So
Perfect.
I'm already waking up earlier than when I was.
You got a lunch? How long's your lunch?
Lunch is half hour.
All right. There's 30 minutes. Go for a walk.
I gotta eat. I need fuel for the day.
Go ahead. Eat while you're walking.
Put
Well,
a couple
I could do
sandwiches in your
that.
pocket.
Dude, there's just simple excuses. There's always ways around all of it. I'm telling you right now. If you truly wanted to do the challenge to push yourself mentally, you would figure out ways around all of it. Believe me, I don't want to get up and do this shit, but I just know that it's going to help me create these habits in the long run. That's just going to lead us down a path of a better life, but like more successes, little success. Like it reminds me of this book, 10x. Like you're doing 10x the thoughts, 10x the actions that other people are doing. Like every time you think of like, oh, I should do this. Oh no, I'll do it later. Well, if you would have done that, and that a minute that you thought about it instead of waiting the hour later, who knows the amount of 10 other things that could have been done in that same hour that would have just kept, like it's, you've had days where you do this, where like you started doing one thing, all of a sudden you got the next thing done, and just like your day feels that much more productive. Well, now string that into 75 days in a row. What about 100 days in a row? 300 days in a row? How much shit are you going to get done? How many years ahead are you going to be by just doing this daily instead of once or twice a week where you had a good day? Or 1 week you did really well. Well, then the next 2 months it was just going through the motions day by day. Like that's what it is. It's to get you out of that comfortable loop of just going through the motions and just like living. It's just instead of being in life, you're out there living it, like doing the most you can. Like, and like these habits are to structure yourself for the future. Like, none of us have kids right now, but like, it's gonna help with your relationships, your family, like providing for them, helping and providing for the people around you. Like, you're gonna become a much better person, so that you're able to help those around you as well as benefiting yourself.
Yeah, I don't argue that like it's not going to make you a better individual or prepare you for like more difficult obstacles in life, but I mean, I guess there's just certain times where like you're already making sacrifices, and if you keep making more sacrifices, it can come back to bite you at the end.
I fully believe that this would not negatively affect the good relationships in your life. Maybe some of the bad ones, it might get rid of them. Good, that's a positive if you ask me, and not a negative. If someone's getting pissed at you because you're trying to better yourself, or they're upset because, hey dude, you're not around, man, just let's hang out, let's do this. Hey, sorry, I gotta go get this done. You're living for you, not for everybody around you. Like, I get where the sacrifices and all that come around. Like, I know, Dan, what do you want to say? I see you got a little smirk. And you're not technically in life, you're not living just for you, but
Yeah.
you know what I'm going with.
You're living for the glory of God.
Yes, okay. But you can't tell me that these habits wouldn't leave you, like...
Oh, no, I think those habits help you glorify God in your everyday life.
That's also where this kind of came... That's kind of where this came out of, too. Like, that's what Andy was about when he created this whole thing. Like, he believes that he has an obligation to help everyone, like everybody in this world, and like this is one of his ways to like get them on that mindset so that they can start doing the same for other people.
Especially if you have people that drink more and are more likely to drink to excess to the point where I would say it's drunkenness. I think this is a great program to try to get people to realize, hey, you can live life without needing alcohol.
Yeah,
I say there are quite a few people
that we know
that I think really have the feeling of I can't live life without alcohol.
Yeah. No, I believe that. Well, I mean, we just said like it would suck without. I mean, we could live without it, but do we enjoy like? Literally, I could just have one beer, and I just enjoy having one beer because I like the beer. You know, like, do I need the alcohol in it? No.
Yeah, the reason I started the whole thing is when you look, I think like a lot of people, I think everybody has like obviously like different gifts and different like potential that they can, like everybody has like tons of potential in them, but I don't think anybody really fully realizes it until you break yourself down and you prove to yourself that you can do it. So I think this is a good way for me to break myself down mentally, physically. Because like David Goggins talks about how he gets through like these 200-mile races, and he calls it his cookie jar. And he says, when I want to quit and I think that I can't finish this, then I go into my cookie jar and I pull out something badass that I've done in the past. And then I say to myself, well, if I can do that, then I can finish this, or I can do that. And it's kind of like the same thing that Andy says, where if you look at, like, if you haven't done anything, then of course you're not going to think that you have potential to do great things. So I'm like, to me, I was just like, I need to prove to myself that I can actually do some of this, break myself down and push through it. So.
Yeah, that's a great story. Oftentimes we think of the story of David and Goliath, and so often people just go, "Oh, look, David defeated this giant, and this is about how we can defeat the Goliaths in our life." But what it was is God had provided for David time and time and time again through these trials, and David knew that because God had provided for him in those tough times in the past, He would provide for him again in the future. And so I think it's important when we talk about adversity in our lives of pointing back to God, back to Christ, and saying, what have they helped us bring us through? But we also have a responsibility to push ourselves in those ways.
Yeah, and I feel like a lot of people sit and like they want something from like God. They'll say, I want to like help me to be a good leader. Well, He's not just gonna like all of a sudden you're gonna wake up and you're like, oh my God, I'm a great leader. all of a
Everyone's
sudden. Like,
following me.
yeah, like everyone's just magically following me. And it's like he's gonna put things in your way to like, so that you become a great leader. Like, he's not just gonna do it
They
overnight.
put challenges
Yeah,
in front of you that you
Right.
you get through, you learn from it, and then you acquire those skills to go and lead
Right.
others.
So I feel like if I'm asking this or that, but I'm not like mentally even strong enough to handle it or
Yeah.
handle the beginning of it, and it's like, well, I just need to do this, and I need to like start actually challenging myself.
That is like, I just saw this like a little thing on Instagram or whatever. It was I think it's called God Holy Scriptures or something like that is the Instagram name. It was basically the same. It was basically the same thing. It was Jesus sitting at this table, and then he's like, John will be here, and like there was like 8:00 in the morning or something like that, and didn't show up, and then like a couple hours later, no, he'll for surely come. Like, doesn't show up, blah blah blah, keeps going, and then someone else comes through and he's like, what are you waiting for? He's like, yep, John will be here, like just waiting, and then at like 8:30 at night, John shows up, and he's like, it's like simple prayer, like, Lord, thanks for this, like, Our Father. He just like goes through the Lord's Prayer, and then he goes, oh, and by the way, could you help this person do this, me get this, I really need help with this, could you help me do this? And then it shows a timestamp at like 8:32, and it's like, it talks about like living your day, like every day, and like at different parts of the day to like turning towards Christ, and like doing like your works throughout the day should all be based off of for him, and then instead of just spending that 1 or 2 minutes a day like thinking and then asking and asking and asking for all these things to be done. Like, he doesn't just, like you said, like he's not just gonna boom, oh, there you go, have it. Like you do have to put the work in for it, and you face these different challenges that you're supposed to try to get through and work through. Like, I think that's part of life. Like, it sucks at times, but like, if we didn't have that, everybody would be weak. Like, everyone would have a weak mindset, and you wouldn't have like people that have that edge. That's right. I don't know. That just kind of.
Yeah.
I think I saw that yesterday, so that was kind of cool how that lined up. What do we got to do different with this podcast, Kyle? What do you got over there? I see you got a bunch of stuff written down.
Yeah.
Kind of quiet today.
Well, some of the stuff was talking about, like, how I went to become a teacher, and then the process of going through the mindset of why I decided to walk away from it. So,
Yeah, what are you doing now, Kyle? I didn't realize you weren't teaching anymore.
so right now I am a manufacturing technician at Mercury, and there I actually build gear cases. So,
Nice.
Now give us some feedback. How did this happen? How did you get to here now?
well, so I went to college to be a biology teacher, and got my first teaching job. And like, the first week was rough, but I kind of expected that, being a first year teacher. And as the year went on, it seemed like it started to get worse and worse. And by the semester, it was just basically draining you to the point where you would like have that feeling of dreading to go to work. And during that process, I was thinking to myself, well, do I see myself in the next 40 years being able to do this? And in my mind right away, I was like, no. But then, I guess during schooling, they always had statistics on first year teachers walking away from the profession. And I thought, well, I don't really want to be a part of a statistic. But looking back on it, there's no reason to be afraid to be a part of a statistic.
Right. You're always going to be a part of a statistic, no
Right.
matter what.
And you got to look at it as, like, my work ethic's pretty strong. Quitting a job, or if it's truly not a good fit for you, it's okay to walk away from a job.
Yeah.
Like if someone says, well, you just don't want to work because you quit. No, that's not the case. You have to find something that fits well with your personality. Like through this experience, I found out I'm much more like I like to see the progress visually rather than like when you teach. Do you really? I guess the hardest part for me was I can see how they score on their tests and quizzes and stuff, but are they really retaining that information?
It wasn't fulfilling you mentally.
Right. I mean, I would.
Yeah.
There are times when I actually stopped working out because I just was overloaded with papers and filling out like behavioral stuff.
So then your
conferences.
health
Yeah. Oh yeah.
kind of was on the line too.
Right. And I thought, well, we're talking about making sacrifices, and if you're making sacrifices to better yourself, yes, that's good. But when you're making sacrifices and you are not taking care of yourself, that's when it starts to become a conflict, I think.
And you said you talked to like a couple other teachers that have been in the profession for 15 years plus, right?
Yep.
And that you still came down to your decision to walk away.
Right. And I mean, even the teacher that I had that I student taught with, she said that there was times when she really thought about quitting as well, and she stuck with it. But looking back, like I
Do
said,
you think that she was happy with that, or do you think she just stuck with it because she was already like doing it and was comfortable with it?
I think, well, the hardest part for me was, all right, I went to school for 4 years. I mean, I worked real hard at school, spent all this money, and now I'm not really using my degree. And I thought to myself, well, you might not be in the exact field, but you're always going to use the skills that you learn there.
Yeah, right.
So that's kind of how I decided actually to walk away. And I guess the main thing was the behavioral problems in the classroom. I had a tough time trying to...
You're a nice guy, and you never really had to raise your voice. How many times did you have to...
There were times when I would really have to get on them. And there was one time when there was a teacher out in the hallway, and I said, all right, knock it off. Like, I just started screaming at him. And the teacher turns and looks, and her jaw just dropped. And I was like, what, am I like, did I do something wrong with yelling at these kids or what? Like, you've never yelled at them? And
Yeah.
there were times when I have to call down some extra support to get a student out of my classroom because, you can't. He was pretty much endangering the safety of other students, and I'm responsible for every student in my class. But yet, I don't have... Yeah, there's a very fine line on what you can do without getting in trouble nowadays.
Yeah.
And I think it's difficult.
Well, Dan
One part-
had to... you substitute all around the area or whatever. And
before I had my current job, but that's part of the issue is, I think a lot of it's school district because it is a lot of how people are trained throughout growing up, and then also families I think make a big difference. But it's part of the issue I see with the breakdown of the family unit. When we see that there's no father figure in a lot of kids' homes, we see that there's not really the sort of even sometimes even there might be a father figure, but not one that's respected. And so we see that there's just this attack on authority, and that's an issue I see with our police officers as well. Is they'll have interactions with some younger people in our community that have just always been told, hey, you don't have to listen to authority. You don't have to listen to your teacher. Mm-hmm. If your teacher disciplines you, well, they're not the boss of you.
They can't do anything to you.
Yep. And so then when these people get pulled over by a cop, they treat a cop just like, oh, well, I can run over you or do whatever I want because I don't have to listen or respect you.
And they continue to see that in their culture.
Yep.
Yep.
And so we just see more and more, we see these issues of authority leaders, whether it's a teacher, whether that's a cop, whatever that is, just gets disrespected. But at the end of the day, it hurts everyone's education in the classroom because it's not just that one kid that's affected, but now you as a teacher have to go in and help spend more time with that one student compared to helping the rest of the 20, 30 kids in the classroom that actually do care and want to learn.
How many... You got something?
I got a story.
Go ahead.
So,
I got a story.
my cousin's a teacher down in West Dallas at some elementary school down there. And he was telling me 2 weeks ago that I think it was a kindergartner went missing, and the teacher didn't even know about it until the parents found the kid at the house. Like the parents came home, and little Jimmy or whatever his name is sitting at home. They're like, "What are you doing?" And the kid said, "I escaped from school." And I guess the kindergarten teacher had no idea the kid was gone.
Dude, that
And they didn't even fire her, he said.
Really?
Listen,
He said that's
yeah.
not even a fireable offense.
Yeah, listen to this. So,
You lost a
Yeah.
kid, dude.
imagine being on a field trip.
so Bryant Elementary, it's a school in the Milwaukee public system. It's an elementary school. This is a direct quote from like some of their their COVID related issues, but so they said the school has worked diligently to contact approximately 25% of the student body without success. Social workers have tried letters that are returned, phone calls with numbers that don't exist. Should these students be considered quote unquote virtual by default? They don't know 25% of their student body.
Where they are.
They don't know where they are, and they have no way to contact them. And the answer to this is just throw more money at it, throw more money at it, throw more. No, there has to be a point where we have to say the free market has to last. That we have to provide some sort of competition there.
Yeah.
Because the charter schools are doing amazing in Milwaukee.
Yeah.
They are doing a great job of educating those kids, where the public school in Milwaukee has just failed those kids.
Yeah.
And it's sad.
Yeah, what do you just do you just let these kids stop going to school? Do we create it like if you don't want to compete, don't compete and like go ahead but now then what? Where all of a sudden we're going to have all these homeless, we're going to have all this funding going to all these people with drugs cuz when kids if they don't graduate high school, they're more likely to
Yep.
end up in prison, become drug addicts.
Well, I remember when we had a teacher, he always would tell us about like the ways to be successful and not have poverty. The like foolproof ways is like you graduate high school, you have a full-time job, you don't have kids before you're married, and
Yeah.
there's like a 95+%.
Was it Mr. Condon?
No.
Don't smoke. Always wear your seatbelt.
Yeah.
What were his 6? He had like 6 of them or
Yeah,
something.
I don't remember.
Don't smoke. Always
It
wear
was
your seatbelt.
Don't gamble or
Don't
something.
gamble. Yeah.
It was good though. Like,
Yeah, I mean, it was decent life skills, honestly.
you think it comes down to like the parents aren't disciplined, like
Well,
they don't discipline themselves, so then they think, well, if I'm not disciplining
Dude.
myself, then why should I make my
Yeah,
like,
look,
deep
that's-
down that's what it is. Like they're undisciplined, so then the kid's gonna be
yeah,
undisciplined.
we have so many people like that
So
are
now
just having kids that aren't even disciplined themselves. Where like they can't hold a steady job, or if they do, like they have no satisfaction in life, and then they all of a sudden they got these kids running around. And I honestly think that a lot of people are just having kids because they're bored or have no satisfaction, and like they run to this dead spot in life, or like, is this it? Well, then all of a sudden they start pumping out these kids,
Yeah.
and they think they're just gonna raise all these kids. Well, then
I think they're having kids to try to like fulfill like their own,
fulfill
like,
something that's
happiness
missing
in their
yeah,
life. Like
I
they
totally
feel
think.
something missing, so they think they can fill that with.
And then, like, without having their own discipline in their life, well, look at their relationships. Their relationships aren't strong. Well, then, like Dan said, you lose that family figure, like that.
Yeah.
That having like somebody there with like a father figure. So I'll talk to you guys after, I guess. I don't want to like bring up too much information on here without having all the facts about it, but there are huge correlations with families that have a father figure and the success of the children and that family than those that don't. And it's extremely prevalent in like minority families. I mean it is. Like statistically it is. You can look into that. But even if you compare like say a white family without a father figure and a black family without a father figure, those kids are likely going to have like the same outcome. It doesn't matter if they're super high class or like low class. Like it's just getting rid of the father is a huge difference in how well them kids do.
Well, you did say it was going to be a touchy topic, and I do have to leave. And we are at the
We'll
time.
save that one. Yeah, I don't want to dive
Yeah.
into that without having like all the facts right in front of me.
We'll
Dan?
see, guys.
Appreciate you stopping in and joining us for this one, and have fun knocking on doors and Good luck this week.
Are you guys going to join me on Doris today? Or
Maybe you'll see Kyle running out there. What does he have to do?
just have to knock on a door and say, hi, my name's Kyle. I'm helping my friend Dan out. He's running for re-election. Here's some information on him. If you have any questions, here's his personal cell phone, his email. Hope you have a great day.
Now we're going to play an ad for Dan's campaign. Can you play that on here?
Right now?
Yeah. Just put it against the speaker.
I'm Daniel Degner, and I'm asking for your support this Tuesday. I've had the pleasure of serving you over the past 2 years. Unlike one of my opponents who supported the defund the police movement, I've stood strong to support law enforcement.
That's why area law enforcement officials endorse Daniel Degner.
I've implemented common sense budgeting that lowered taxes by over 6%.
That's why State Representative Jeremy Thiesbelt has endorsed Daniel Degner. This Tuesday, vote Daniel Degner for City Council.
Paid for by Citizens for Daniel Degner.
Folgers in your cup. Oh, always a good time having Dan come stop in and
You know how like
BS a little bit.
some people are like other people. Like you look at someone, you're like,
Oh yeah, you
he's
can
kind of
really-
like this guy or that guy.
Yeah.
Like Dan's just his own character.
Yeah,
Who else is like Dan? Like who? If nobody had met Dan before, how would you explain him? He's just his own character. Like
yeah, I couldn't be like, oh, Dan's kind of like Kyle because of this and this.
yeah,
but,
no, Dan's just.
but he
a
has this
character.
characteristic.
Mhm.
Nope, there's like 20 characteristics where you're like, yeah, and that's Dan. Someone's like, interesting. I want to meet that guy.
Mhm.
Oh, I gotta make a call after this, so I'm saying it out loud so I don't forget. So that way you can remind me when I get in the car. I gotta make a call. Just say that and I'll remember. Working on another real estate deal. Hopefully that goes through. Quicker the better. Which is just in time, because if I get my house finished up here, be ready to go and tear another one apart. Right on. You coming with today? Get some stuff done?
Yeah.
I gotta cut lights in. Get the lights hooked up. I gotta mud a couple walls. I'm thinking about putting some studs up in the basement tonight and making a room down there so we can put some foam up on the walls. Start getting this thing going. Get the room set up.
Here's a question for you.
Go ahead, shoot. Favorite non-pornographic magazine?
Nope. Nope. So, my question is, how did you develop your work ethic? Because I feel like that's a big problem out there with in the workforce or just in daily lives.
Yeah.
Is people lack work ethic.
Yeah, just no drive to
Right.
probably from my grandpa, and then which my dad and uncle had got it, and then I got it. I remember through sports and stuff, as soon as I start wrestling, when I started wrestling, our whole family wrestled, all 5 of us wrestled, and Dad would not let us quit. If we said we were gonna wrestle, we were gonna wrestle. So we would go to tournaments every single weekend, all the whole family, all of us. We all had my sisters, every one of us wrestled. So that started it, I think, and then I pretty much grew up at Adams on the farm. All summer long, we would spend our whole summer at the farm, and we would bale hay, work on the barn, just little things around the farm. Basically we would get to we would get up, I don't know, 8 or 9 in the morning, and we would work until 2 in the afternoon. John said, if we got all this done, that was Adam's dad, if we got all this stuff done, we could go play. Or we used to have lawnmower races. They had this big 500-gallon fuel tank, and we would just fill the lawnmowers up. Go if mowing the lawn was a thing that day, they had the farm was pretty big. They had 8 different sections of a fucking prairie basically. So he had mowers for all the boys, so 5 different mowers, and then some extras. So everyone had their own mower, and like we would all go like I got lawn 2 and 3, and we'd go like get all our lawns done, and then like we would tear shingles off the barn, and then like we stripped all the barn wood down. Like that would be like our things for the day, and then we'd get to play. So like lawnmower racing was like one thing we would do. We would just go race the lawnmowers around the farm. So like it was always rewarded with something. Like, and then like when we were real young too, we dug out their basement by hand, and we carried it up in 5-gallon buckets, and we would get like a nickel for every bucket that we carried up. So we would be counting our buckets. So now you're competing against like each other, carrying these buckets up. Like you're trying to make more than that person, or you're like, I'm taking 2 at a time this time. Like you're just trying to get, how many bucks did you get at the end of the day? And then you get like $5 or something. You'd give us $5 or something. And then we get to go play. So then like we'd go play dodgeball, baseball, like basketball. We played all different, like every sport, football. Like, so now you're playing against, you got 10 boys all competing against each other too. So like you're trying to be the best, but now you're playing against kids that are 8 years older than you, and like obviously bigger than you, stronger than you, but like they're beating up on you. So then I started like working out and like really like putting more time into sports. Well, then there again, Dad would be like if I didn't want to go to practice or something someday, he'd be like, what, are you gonna be a quitter? You're gonna be a fucking quitter your whole life? Like you're gonna quit this, then you're just gonna quit everything you do? Like you don't fucking do this because you don't want to? Like sometimes he'd get pissed if I was like didn't want to go do something. So then I would go. Like it was just like that little edge of like, you're gonna like fail yourself, and then 2, like you're going to make them proud that you're going out and doing it, like even if you don't want to, and you're gonna excel at it, so that you have that pride of being good at it, and like they're proud of you because you're doing well at it. So then that carried throughout high school or whatever. Like I always wanted to be the best at like anything I touched. Like I just wanted to be good at it. And then in high school, probably junior year, I got into like, we're trying to figure out what you want to do like for college and stuff. Well, then I started getting into like mindset, like self-improvement, developing yourself and all that. And then I ran into Mr. White with Advocare, and like that brought that same thing, like that people with that same mindset. So now I'm like surrounding myself with successful people that are like doing well financially, but have really good relationships with people, and just like they're like focused around God, and like all that like kind of fell together. And then that's when I also was like started dating Anna too, like so like that part of like the spiritual kind of aspect came in too. Well, then like that was another self-improvement thing that kind of went with like other things, like with the work ethic of like not just in careers, but like just in your mind and all that. And then through the mindset thing, I found like business stuff. Once I found business stuff, I'm like, all right, this is going to be my way to like go. Like, yeah, I'm going to go get a job and do all that, but like I want to grow something on my own. So that's when I started learning like the concrete stuff. Like I started working for other people, but then within 3 years of that, like I started my own doing side jobs, and now it's been a couple of years of doing that, and now it's just kind of all building on top of each other, and it just keeps, hopefully, I mean, there are days where I'm like, fuck, dude, like I don't want to do this, or like I won't do it, and I'm like, you're being a bitch. Like I just have to have that talk with myself, like you're being a bitch, you're quitting. Like if you quit this, like you're just gonna go down that habit loop of quitting and being comfortable with it. Like I don't want that. Like there are days where it feels good, but then and a couple days later I'll look back at that day and be like, look, now I just spiraled myself down a path of being a pussy. And I think that's a real thing. Like that happens to me all the time. I don't know if it happens to you guys, but I definitely feel that. Like I feel way better when I'm doing like little successes at like every day that kind of add up. Like, and it's really cool now because like now like I'm working with a guy like Gary doing the houses and stuff, like, and now I just ran into another deal, and then just like things like that where like if I wouldn't have took the initiative years ago to like learn about it, I never would have cared about any of this now. But like I know that this is going to help me grow into like a more successful individual. And it's cool to start seeing it already at this age. Granted, it ain't shit yet, but like, it's gonna be.
I think you said something really important out there. Anyone out there that is looking at learning a new hobby or learning how to do something, biggest advice is to talk to someone who does it. I found out, like for taxidermy, if you reach out to a taxidermist, they're more than willing to help you. And like Matt here with concrete, he said he worked under multiple different people for a couple of years, just gaining experience and learning how to do something. Don't be afraid to reach out to someone. I mean, the worst they're going to say is no.
Oh, well.
Right.
Move on. Find somebody else that's going to help.
Yep.
Or just keep trying to do it yourself. There's tons of information out there, like videos. Like, you can go on YouTube and almost learn anything that you want. That's also where I found a bunch of, like, mindset stuff and, like, self-improvement. Like, I literally use, like, YouTube, like, as my mentors. Like, Andy Priscilla, David Goggins. I literally feel like those are people that are mentoring me.
Yeah, me too.
And like that's huge to have that, dude. There's so many like successful people that put so much content out there. They literally can feel like your friend if you use it.
I use Joe Rogan and
That was another big one too. That
Steve Harvey's really good too. I watch a lot of Steve Harvey's stuff.
dude, I love people getting interviewed. Whether it's just a podcast or an interview, like
Yeah.
you can go on my like subscriptions for YouTube. Every single person on there is like, there is very few entertainment things. It's all like self-improvement, business, like financial things, like self help, like all of it. I'm trying to think, there's one other guy that I was going to talk to you guys about. Anyways, how's the taxidermy going?
Pretty good.
I got a dog you can work. No, I'm just kidding.
No.
Just kidding.
I got like a grandma coming up pretty soon.
No.
What is that? Is that from Jackass where they go in and they ask if you can stuff my grandma? I'm pretty sure that's from Jackass where I think it was like
I want to put her by the fireplace.
it was like Dave England or
Put her in
Aaron
the
McGehee
rocker?
or something like walked in with that old lady. And then they're like, yeah, you can stuff my grandma. And the grandma, like, plays along with it that she wants it. And the guy, like, I forget what happens. I'm pretty sure it's part of, like, Jackass.
Dude, do you imagine that? You walk in your house and she's just stuffed on the rocker?
Has those eyes that, like, no matter which way you turn, it's always looking at you.
See, the next project I got coming up is a duck. We're going to try duck.
First duck.
First duck.
The teal?
The teal, yeah, which is
What do you-
more difficult.
Hard bird.
Yeah. Problem is that their skin is so thin that it's real easy to tear through it when you're flushing it. So we're gonna see how this
Or like
goes.
washing it out. Like you just tear it with your thumbs.
Yep.
You better get a manicure, is that what it's called? Where you file your hands, your calluses on your
No, I
hands
ain't
and shit
doing
down.
that.
I ain't doing that.
Those big ass gorilla hands will just rip that thing apart. You're gonna have to use chopsticks when you take that thing apart.
Well, you do have to use a lot of tools and be very careful when you're even mounting the bird.
Walk
skin
me
itself.
through, what's the first thing you did?
Well, I started off with European mounts and started off basically just doing our own when we got deer. It didn't really matter to me how big the buck was, because you just still were like preserving that memory for that person. Like
Yeah.
my brother, my dad, I did their European mounts, and then some of the people I worked with at hardware store, helped them out a little bit, and then from there, this past winter,
Yeah.
my brother shot a squirrel, and it was a red fox squirrel, and he's sitting there, and well, he eats these things. Like,
A squirrel?
yes, so far we got about 15 squirrels, and he's pretty much eaten them all.
So, like,
He's a little savage, he's like an Indian.
I mean, well, you look. My grandma used to make squirrels as well, and I guess I tried it. I wasn't a fan of it, but
No.
I also had to reheat it in the microwave, and that made
Oh.
it like leather. Like, it was awful, dude. And I was
Yeah.
like, yeah, this is disgusting. But yeah, that's how he gets his protein for the day.
So when you stuff an animal, like what do you all keep? Like
So basically, what you're doing is you have to you're keeping the skin and the fur, the feathers, basically,
okay,
and the rest, like the bones on a duck, you keep, like for their wings and for their legs, but you have to get rid of all the meat and flesh and
Yeah.
all that stuff off of it. And then what you do to build it back up is you basically take cotton swabbing or like that padding material. Some people actually, for the neck, you actually use those foam backer rods for like pipe insulation.
Yeah.
To shave that down. So mainly, and like as far as the head goes, you don't keep any of that. You get your measurements from it, but it's actually like a molded form, and that beak is painted.
but the head has feathers on it, don't it?
Right.
Like,
So you have to skin. You have to skin.
oh,
that
you gotta
all
skin
off.
that,
Yeah.
and you keep the head feathers and all that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's tough.
Then you gotta when you actually mount it on the bird, then you have to make sure your measurements are right. Make sure your eyes are centered, because otherwise you have one eye looking up and one eye looking down. You know, it's like, yeah, it's a very
So how long would a duck take, start to finish?
start to finish. I would say. Well, there are certain times where like you gotta let it like sit for a while. But I'd say if you were doing it full time, you probably could get it done in 2 to 3 days.
Working like what, 10 hours a day on it? 8 hours a day on it?
I'd say roughly probably about 4 to 8, somewhere
Yeah.
in between. The squirrel, what happened was my brother seen the color of it. It had pretty good color, and I always was interested in trying to become a taxidermist or learning about it at least, because I'm a pretty avid hunter. And
You could probably do that full time. Like, everybody needs that.
right,
Once you get good at it,
the squirrel was just kind of sitting there, and I thought, oh, I'll mount it for you. My brother's like, you will? And I was like, yeah. So I right away went to YouTube. And it's like, all right, well, how do I skin this thing so I can mount it? Because it's already... And learned how to skin it. And found out there was 2 ways you could skin it, just depending on, what pose you were going for. Got it all skinned out. Then I had to flesh it. And fleshing, I think, is probably... It's the most important part, but it's also... Like, I'm not going to say it's the most difficult, but it can be.
Yeah.
Trying to make sure, like, because if you leave any sort of flesh on there, I mean, it's gonna start to stink. It could grow
Yeah,
maggots
right. You
or-
gotta get rid of all that.
Right.
So, do you think like a small game like a duck or a squirrel is easier than like something for like a deer or like a bear
Not necessarily.
Or like a-
Sometimes.
or like a bobcat, like a full bobcat mount, like you see, or like a fox? Like, what do you think would be the easiest if you're gonna be like just starting? What would be the easiest?
I would say definitely start with a squirrel. If you're looking to do something like for bird taxidermy, I probably wouldn't start with a duck, but
Yeah.
because I have a duck, that's what I'm going to start with. And it may not turn out, but
Yeah.
at least I found out, what not to do.
Yeah,
I learned
right.
from the experience.
What do you think is like would be the most difficult? I feel like just the pressure of like a
Say an exotic. Yeah.
like a giraffe or something.
Right.
you would have to have some good experience before
Yeah.
you started doing something exotic.
say-
Like, what if you
because-
fucked up somebody's like elephant that they shot?
Dude, what are you doing today?
Me? I was gonna get some fertilizer, fertilize the lawn. I don't know. Otherwise, nothing important. Why?
You guys should come to the house today. I'll take you over to Anna's dad's house and we'll walk through the house.
All right.
Dude, you gotta see all his, like, he's got, like, old Pac-Man pinball machines, like, tons of, like, old gaming arcade stuff, like, tons of old signs, like,
For sale?
yeah, taxidermy. Dude, I'm telling you, he's got,
Does he have an old Pac-Man machine? I'll buy it from
dude,
him.
he has one arcade game. I'd have to ask Joe. Joe knows the name of it. it's literally like the only one left for this certain like company that used to like was
Yeah.
a big name back then. And he's like, he could basically sell it for whatever amount that.
He wants.
Yeah, because it's literally the only one. You got to see this dude. He had so much semi trailers full of all of these antiques.
That's awesome. I love that.
The taxidermy, you would love it, dude. I want to show you just all of it so you can get ideas and like. I should talk to him because if you get your license, you could actually like work on them or whatever for practice, and it'd be great practice because there's like he just has a bunch of old stuff that you could just fix.
What about a fish? You don't keep nothing on a fish.
See, that's one thing that I would not be
Right,
interested in. Is
Because
fish.
like I heard
That's like what you did, right?
Yep.
Well, you want to send that. Sorry, I've interrupted what you were talking about before. If you want to send that squirrel or whatever, send the picture to our email because then we can put it up on the.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, this is what he did. It was pretty sweet. $70, dude.
But a fish, you don't keep the skin or nothing. Like because people can like take a picture of their muskie, and they take a couple shots of it, and then they can get a replica
Yep.
because you don't keep nothing on a fish anyways, right?
$60, Kyle.
I'm not sure how fish themselves work, but I know like a lot of like you can get replica deer heads as well.
Yeah.
So
I gotta take you guys out there. You'll love it. We could walk around for hours. There's so much stuff. It's like M Shuttle or whatever, MC Shuttle, whatever.
Yeah,
that.
I hate that place.
No, it's like
I thought you.
it's like that big, like all that much stuff in his yard.
Yeah. Dude, M Shuttle,
I thought the other
It's
day
a-
you were going to go there for.
we did go.
We did go there.
We
It
did go
was-
there.
It was just,
No, it's just not the one on 41. The one on 41 has some weird workers and like you just kind of feel out of place. But if you go to the other one
it's
where
a drug front.
yeah, it's got to be a drug front.
We think it is.
But the other place is like literally out in the middle of the country, and you pull up in the driveway and there's all these statues in the yard. And you're like, this place is weird. And there's like a house, then there's a bunch of pole sheds and a barn, and you're like, you walk into one, and then it's just like a store, set up for a store. Then you move into another spot, and it's like all beds. And then you go to another spot, and it's like all countertops and kitchen stuff. And then you go to, it's just really odd. And there's like, when we went, there was like nobody there. And then the people that work there, like two-tooth hillbilly meth heads, they're like, you need any help, man? Like, what are you looking for? And you're just like, looking for you not to talk to me right now. Like, leave me alone. But it's like, I'm going to die here. It's just like a weird place. It's like, there's no way they sell any of this junk. It's garbage. Like old, like, it's all outdated, like dusty, been sitting on the shelf.
But
It's
then
like,
but then there's like weird stuff like all the mannequins and stuff that
Yeah.
are like statues that are like those are gone a lot.
but who's buying them? Like,
Yeah,
I'm
we
sure-
think it's some sort of like
well, I'm sure that
let's
like,
just go throw them in the garbage. Say that someone gave us $600 for each one, and then well, that's our drug money.
yeah, like there's no way that this stuff sells.
You ever watch Breaking Bad? Yeah, it reminds me of like that. Like, it's literally the chicken place, or like the little chicken restaurant, but the dude's running that huge drug ring.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like that. That's what
Los-
it feels like. Maybe it's not, but that's
the
what
vibe
it feels
about it,
like.
Yeah. You get a vibe of like, there's no way this like they have a full-sized Elvis mannequin for like $6,000. Like nobody's buying that. They have
Come back 2 weeks later and it'll be gone.
They have that full bar set up for like $20,000.
Yeah.
Like there's no way people pay this. It's like, but they probably either know somebody that makes them, or they like find this shit for nothing and then just dumpster it and be like, oh, I just got $6,000 for this. Meanwhile, the $6,000 came from some meth operation they got going. Like that's what it feels like when you go there, and then it's just like awkward in there, and it's just like I'm gonna die here today. I bet they fucking eat people here or something. Like all this weird shit's going through my mind. Like all these trailers out back are probably all their dead corpses. I don't know. My mind, I
I was
kind
gonna
of,
say you're having intense thoughts in there.
I don't know. Sometimes I overthink situations.
Slightly.
I'm kind of an overthinker.
Oh man.
Do you think, I was talking about this to somebody the other day, but do you think that we're all connected somehow? Like, mentally, like, once you have that, like, connection with somebody, do you think, like, somehow we're connected, like, subconsciously? Like, so there'll be times that I'll be texting somebody throughout the day, and then, like, obviously, like, I'll get busy at work, and they're busy doing something that, like, an hour goes by, and I'll be at work totally, like, mentally into what I'm working on,
Yeah.
or a podcast, and then randomly, that person will come into my mind, like, wonder, like, just a thought about them, and then, like, within 1 to 2 seconds, they text me back. Or, like,
we talked about this in school. I forget what
Or
I forget what the phenomenon is.
like,
or
even
whatever.
with you, like, like, me and you don't text
all day or something like.
me and you don't text, like, even during the week.
Yeah.
It's kind of like
All of a sudden.
out of the blue, but it'll be like, I've had it with you where I'm just like at work or like here doing something, all of a sudden, like, you'll come into my mind, and then like 2 seconds later you'll text me or snap me. So it's like almost like somehow I know that you're obviously thinking about me, like texting me and about to send me something, and somehow I know that. Does you ever get that? Like,
Oh, yeah.
I get that all the time.
Yeah.
And I ask them, and they're like, "Yeah, I get that all the time too."
We
I'm
talked about it in school. I forget what like the name of it is, but like they say it's just coincidence. Like
no, it can't be.
Where you're thinking of it, and all of a sudden you get a phone call, and like
it happens too often to be a
coincidence. I think Andy and them talk about it, how like the vibes that you put out there, like they come back to you. So like the higher power, like, or just like not even just like God relating you back and forth, but like just like because everything's energized.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like the chakra, you know, like your body having like these different energy centers. Like if you think about it, like your body is full of all these electrons or whatever. Like that's energized. Like so, like all these things around us have some sort of energy to them. So to say like it's not possible that like somehow like we're getting these like sources of energy, like maybe we are, like I don't think we can just say no, because there's so much stuff that we don't even know, like with science, that maybe it is possible. Now who's here?
That might be for the neighbor. I don't know anybody with that truck.
I'm trying to think of like other like wild examples besides just that could kind of.
Because it's not even like I'm sitting around bored and like thinking of random things. It's always like I'm deep into something, like.
And then you have like a split-second thought.
And it's like
and it comes at
totally random, and I'm like, it'll be like a random thing like me and you did. Like just like a memory, and then all of a sudden, like, boom, you text me. It's like, how is like that can't be a coincidence. It happens too often.
Now I'm gonna be like hyper aware of it. Now, like, you know, like maybe it's happened a lot, and I wasn't really like focused on it and like thinking of it that way. But now,
then I'm like, somehow we gotta be like, once you like you said, like have that
like twins, like twins, or like okay. Here's like a story I was thinking of. Anna's dad had a good family friend or whatever, and it was a really bad snowstorm, and like really cold that night, and he was out. Her dad's friend was out working in the shed, like an older guy, and Mike, it was like late at night. Mike didn't know us, wasn't talking to the guy, hasn't talked to him in a couple weeks, I guess. And he's like, I can't think of the guy's name. We'll just go with Jim. I gotta go stop by Jim. Like,
oh yeah,
something's wrong. Like something feels off. And he's just staying at the house, and more time goes by. He's like, I gotta go check. So then he just drives over there, like drives on the road or whatever. Sure enough, he fell and was stuck, like couldn't get up, and Mike ended up like getting him into the house and all that. Like older guy would have freaking died from hypothermia or whatever, but something was telling him like you can go check on him. Like, is that literally his friend like thinking, like calling out for help, you know, like where like that that, like we were talking, like that little energy where like it just connected, like, hey, he needs me right now? Or is that like God being like, Mike, go, like pushing you, like, in, you know, like, or like guardian angels and stuff? Like, we have is it something like that too, you know? Like, is it literally like they're looking out for you and they're like, hey, like they're telling me like, hey, see what Jay's doing? Like, this is going to be good for you guys to go do this. Like, or like, they're like, because he has a plan for us, right?
Yeah.
So like, what if it's like these angels or spirits are out, like, or energy is out there helping you to like go towards that path. So like the more positive things you put out, like you're like, there's more like positive energy towards what you're doing, and they keep trying to lead you down that path. Like,
You know,
you get what I'm
want to hear
saying,
another
kinda?
crazy story I heard the other day?
Yeah.
I was
Yes.
on the
I like
deep
crazy stories.
I was on this deep like rabbit hole of YouTube, and it was a story where this dude said that he was like on the verge of suicide, like he wanted to kill himself, all this shit, like had no purpose left to live. And he said, I randomly wanted to go out and have a couple drinks with this buddy from high school that I hadn't talked to in like 8 years or something. And he said, we're having a couple drinks, and then all of a sudden, the guy out of the blue asked me how things are going, and I just told him, like, flat out, like, things aren't good right now. And then he said the dude's eyes changed color, and he, like, started, like, breaking down. He's like, the dude's eyes, like, changed color, and, like, his voice didn't sound the same. And he said that, I forget what he told him. It was something along the lines of, like, I'm not done with you yet, my child, or something like that. And then, like, the guy, like, it went back to like, normal, and the guy went up and walked up to the bathroom, came back, and he doesn't, like, the dude that said that doesn't remember saying any of that. And he's like, we had, like, 2 beers, so, and the dude's, like, breaking down, like, so you could tell, like,
Something.
that he's not, like, making it up.
Yeah. Dude, I love stuff like that. Like, but like, that's what I mean. Do we run into that more often than we realize?
And then we're just like, oh, that's weird. It's a coincidence.
Yeah.
Or is it, like, actually, like...
Is it being lined up like that?
Yeah.
I think it is. I think if you're like, I think if you're open to like accepting that too, I think you'll have a happier life too. Cause why like deny that that's a possibility and just run from it?
Yeah.
Does that like scare you that there's some, does that scare people that there's something higher than them?
Yeah, we were talking about that in Alabama too a little bit.
I love that stuff though. Well, I'm ready to wrap her up, get moving on the house. Stop.
I'm getting sweaty.
Yeah, me too. This coffee's starting to get me sweating.
Yeah, my back's all sweaty.
It's supposed to be a warm day out today.
I know it is.
It's gonna be a good day. We gotta get some stuff done.
Go pick through some of Mike's trailers.
Dude, he'll love it. I'll see if he's home. He'll freaking love it though. He'll take you guys around and be talking for hours if we let him. I might have to drop you off and go work on the house and come back and get you. He loves it. All right. Anyways, thank you all for listening. We got some pretty solid content out today. Different viewpoints from each one of us on a lot of different topics. This should be uploaded by the end of the weekend. I'd say Sunday night, early Monday morning. Probably, yeah, somewhere in there.
Follow us on Instagram.
Check out our Instagram. You can listen to us on Spotify, Apple Music,
Apple
Podcast, and I think there's one other one that
YouTube.
Anchor, YouTube. Check out our YouTube channel, 920 Waterfall. 920 Waterfall. You can check out our playlist. This would be episode 12. If depends what you guys are into. We got all kinds of different stuff going on. Actually, we got some good old stories of the mouse infestation in Jason's house when he bought it. We got some work stories that we shared that almost got us walked off the job site. Thanks to our insane cousins. And we got Josh sharing some paranormal activity. If you guys are into some stories like that, go check out episode 10 and episode 9.
Kyle, you got anything else to say? You look like you got some stuff written down there yet.
I got a bunch of stuff written down yet, but that'll be for another one.
That'll be for another
Jump
one.
on. You can come on the next one, man. We try to get him. We try to do Thursday nights, usually Thursday afternoons or whatever we can do, depending on what our work schedule is. That way we can at least keep one going. Otherwise, even like Saturday mornings, there's a good way to get one done too. Thanks for joining us on this one, buddy. Hope you come on another one.
Yep, thanks for having me.
Everyone else have you'll probably be hearing this Sunday, so hope you had a good weekend and go after your week this week. Stay hard.